Know this. Introducing the original blood clot podcast, not players. Soothing semantic. Special dedication. All the way from New York. Boom. Yeah, man. SWOT semantic. Yeah, me know. Boom. Soothing semantic. Yeah, me know. Big ups to the man. Soothing semantic.
Welcome to another episode of the Soothing Semantics podcast. I am your host, Rafi Pinsky. Today we have John Dwoskin on the show. John and I connected through David Meltzer, a wonderful man, a coach, author, speaker. I mean, the guy does it all. If you haven't checked out David Meltzer's content, I will drop all the links. Thank you so much, John, for joining me on another episode.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on the show, Rafi.
Thank you. And it's my pleasure to have you. So, John, for any of you who don't know, is a business coach, author, speaker, podcaster, and definitely want to go into the book you've written and the books you're working on.
Yeah.
So give us a little bit of a scoop on that before we get into anything else.
The first book I wrote is, well, first of all, thanks for having me, Rafi. It's good to be here. And I'm glad that Dave connected us. I'm a business coach. He's my business coach for many, 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 many years. And just think the world of him. My first book is called The Think Big Movement, Grow Your Business Big, Very Big. It's a story about, it's a parable, a business. I wanted to write a business book that I write parables because I think they're easier to read. I believe that everything is storytelling. And so I like writing in story format, and I find it's easier those are the books I like to read, and I think people can follow them. So I take business concepts and business advice and I wrap it into the story and tell it through the characters, not just through me. And so my first book, The Think Big Movement, is about somebody who's stuck in business. I'm a business coach that works with successful people who are stuck, and I get them unstuck. And this character is stuck in business. And basically, through the journey of self-awareness and a lot of guides that come his way and lead him in the direction of where his very next step is, every which way, he grows his business, he grows his mindset, he grows his soul, and gets unstuck and understands really what fulfillment and balance for him is all about. And I think the reader gets taken on a journey where they can put themselves in the story because of the through line of finding fulfillment and the through line of knowing that we need guides and we need to surrender to the universe, putting people in front of us. And that without fulfillment, life and business just isn't as fun. And then I provide tools on how to do things more effectively and efficiently in a business world. So that's kind of a quick gist.
That's fantastic.
And it can be downloaded for free at my website. I give my book away for free. So it can be downloaded for free at johndwoskin.com.
Wow. How come you're giving it away for free?
Because after I wrote it, you don't really make money writing a book, right? You make very minimal dollars writing a book. And Dave Meltzer said to me, John, just buy a couple thousand and then give it away for free on your site. It's your best business card. I was like, oh yeah, that makes more sense because I make a lot of money from my book by people reading the book and hiring me as a coach, or reading it and or knowing I have it and doing keynotes and trainings all over the country. So the book is really, I want to get it in as many people's hands as possible.
You don't get a lot of money for writing. I mean, it's not going to get you a lot per book, but if you sold thousands and thousands of books, I mean,
yeah, I give it away for free.
Okay.
No, you can buy it. You can buy it on Amazon if you want, but I give it away. I mean, and the next series of books I'm writing, you will be able to buy them too, or you can download them for free on my site.
Yeah, I mean, I am a tribesman. We do like the free things.
Yeah,
I am. Yeah.
Well, free, free is it's your best business card you could possibly have, in my opinion.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I do agree. And by the way, off topic, I do really like your whole TV. What I'm brain farting. The fire out
Fireplace.
here, the fireplace. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, it's very cool.
It's really,
You know, it would be very nice if you had kind of like a very dim lit, nice modern looking apartment. Well, even more of a rustic look, but just having some whiskey with the tea. If you don't have a real fireplace, having a big screen
yeah.
TV in the background. Yeah, it's a nice
Yeah.
idea.
You know,
I
this
like
is an
that.
office. I'm in an office right now.
Mhm.
But if I turned off the lights, it'd be too dark in here. So yeah.
But you know, instead of fluorescent lighting, if you had more of the kind of yellow ambient lighting or the natural light,
Yeah.
that would look pretty cool. But
Yeah.
anyhow, yeah, I like the
Thank
idea.
you. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. So you had me with the when you were telling me that your book is kind of like a parable style where the readers are entering a story. I also really like Gary Vaynerchuk, and he always talks about how the best motivators and the best podcasters are people who are able to tell a good story. You know, people who
Yeah.
are able to allow you to enter their realm or whatever they're trying to get across. And that's why even with the podcast that I have, I really try to do that with my listeners and with the guests as well that I have. So that's awesome. Definitely, I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to reading your book. I'm definitely going to give it a read. Now with the podcast, what's your focus with the podcast?
Yeah.
Tell us more about it. Tell us what it's called.
I mean, my podcast, I love. I do it every single day. I have almost 1,300 episodes, and I love it. It's called Think Business. Think
You have a new
Business
guest
Live.
every time? Almost every
Yeah,
time?
yeah. I have a guest every time. I do Coffee with John in the mornings, which is a show that I have a series. Those are all interviews. And then I do Think Business Live every day at noon. And then I'll do a tip, which is just me at the end of the day, called Grow Your Business Big Daily. But and those are all web shows, and then I turn them all into podcasts. But my podcast is great. I interview somebody every day at noon, Monday through Friday. And, you know, I'm a business coach. I work with successful people from solopreneurs to Fortune 100 CEOs, managers, vice presidents, and salespeople. And the people that I work with are very successful, but they're stuck, and I can get them unstuck. I can hear.
What does stuck mean exactly? They've
stuck.
hit a plateau.
They plateau. They can't get to the next level. They don't understand what their stuck is, why they can't move to the next centimeter of their business. And I can see it as clear as day. And so it's great. So what I like to do is I like to provide a platform of content where I bring in guests from all over the world to provide guidance to help people continually get unstuck. And so it's great. I mean, I love it. I'm very passionate about it. I do it at the same time every day. And Think Business Live with John Dwoskin. I love it. And then for my podcast, I'll record certain episodes of, you know, tips here and tips there. And, you know, I look at myself like a Netflix channel. And if I can offer a lot of content, multiple different series, get people engaged, give them content, then the people who tell them what to do, then the people who really want to know how to do it specifically for them, those are my clients.
Okay. So that's a lot. I mean, it's a lot of content though. Every day. How do you get somebody every day?
You know, once I hit 100 episodes, I had booking agencies all over the world booking people on my show. So on a daily basis, I get 3 to 5, at least, people asking me, booking agencies, to book people on my show. So I'm booked through July right now, and I'm always kind of booked out. And sometimes I'm thinking I'm too booked out, but I'm booked out through July right now. So if anybody, I got, you know, I have
Monday to Friday, you're booked out until July.
Yeah. And then by the end of, the end of March, I'll be booked out through the end of, by August. I get a lot of really great, interesting people, and it's great. I love it.
But you only do these on Zoom, or you do them in person?
I use them I use only StreamYard. I use StreamYard, not Zoom. And StreamYard allows me to go live on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch all at the same time. So I go live at noon every day, Monday through Friday.
Okay. So, okay. What would I type in on YouTube?
John Dwoskin. But if you go to my website, it's better. Go to johndwoskin.com. And then just go to my podcast.
Yeah, 1.1 thousand videos. It's a hell of a lot of videos.
And then those all get repurposed into my podcast.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah.
So, I love doing this. I started doing this in August of 2020.
Yeah.
I only do one a week, and I think it's fine. I try to do it in person. I have microphones. I have the Shure mics. I just got brand new Shure mics. I used to have these crappy other mics, so I'm very happy about that. And I eventually want to have a real legitimate studio. Right now I do it in my apartment. You know, I have the lighting and everything. But once I, quite frankly, have more money to throw down to have a legitimate place, that's what I want. I want to get some additional mics, real lighting, expensive cameras, do all the real deal stuff. And that's my ultimate goal. But I mean, I never missed a week since I started. So I'm definitely, that's a non-negotiable, but I now that you mentioned you do it every day, I'm like thinking maybe I should do maybe twice a week at least. That wouldn't be too bad.
Yeah, you should do it.
For sure.
Yeah. The more, the more content, the better. Every time I have a lot of content, I always look at my content and say, how can I double my content? What can I do that's even more and more and more content?
We live in a content world. Everything's online now. It's interesting that there are people still not taking advantage of it, but some people really, it's not in their element. Some people just don't feel comfortable in front of the camera. I mean, they can.
I think it's that, but I also think a lot of people don't have the content. Right. So I have so much content. I mean, I have years and years and years of content that I still haven't even put out there. I have content that I've created that isn't even launched yet, because I'm always, I always look at things and say, okay, as somebody starts to follow and do what I do, I'm just going to launch something else that's going to expand my brand and my content and help more people. So, in the scheme of everything, if my goal is, to coach over 1 billion people and get them thinking big by getting unstuck and staying consistent and being fulfilled. So I want to be able to touch a lot of people that may or may not ever be able to be coached by me. So, that's kind of how it is. As I'm sitting here, an email popped up from, another booking agency, asking me if I can have, this person who wants to talk about crypto and NFTs and blockchain and, the CEO and founder of this, specific company. So it's cool. I mean, I would never, not necessarily that I wouldn't, but I don't know when I would come across that person, but now I have the booking agencies bringing them to me. So podcasting is great. So the more you do, the more of those you get coming across your desk. It's great.
Yeah. I mean, the opportunity, although my channel still isn't large yet, just the opportunity I'm getting is incredible. People are asking me to come on now, where I always used to have to kind of chase after them. Yeah. So, once the tree continues to build, the branches get bigger. Those branches.
It doesn't have to be large. Just another way to think about it is, it doesn't have to be large, because all that matters is the 1 or 2 people that listen to it or hear it that become a client. I think sometimes people get lost in views and this and that. It's really about the quality of people, or the quality of companies, or the quality that are coming and looking or listening to what you're doing. And are those people ambassadors, and will they refer you business? Right. So that's how I look at things. Yeah. Versus getting caught in the numbers of things sometimes. So,
right.
Yeah. Anyway.
No,
all right.
You're right, though. I agree with you. Getting too lost. The numbers, though, are important. I can't shy away from that, because it does equate to money. And as much as I don't want to put money as the primary focus, I do want to grow a channel that brings me passive income. It's definitely
Sure,
You know
sure.
what I mean? It's not a bad
No,
side
no. It's good to be a conscious capitalist.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely. There's no debate there. By the way, so Levi got back to me. His brother's Avi. How old is this guy Avi that you know? I can.
Oh, he's old. He's like in his 70s.
Oh, so no, this
Yeah.
isn't. This is a different.
Yeah, different
Doesn't
guy.
make sense. Is it? Well, then again, I guess Cohen is such a generic name. It could be.
Yeah, it could be.
But he's cool. I don't know. Okay. Well, yeah, folks, we tried playing Jewish geography. It didn't work out. It usually does. What's it like being in Detroit, though? You must live in a bit of a nicer area, I presume.
It's great. I mean, I grew up here, so I mean, I love it. I mean, we live close to the city, not too far from the city, but we're in the suburbs. But it's great. I mean, we live in the suburbs of Detroit, but yeah, I mean, we love it.
What's the weather like right now?
I don't even really know. I think it's like, I don't know, like maybe 30, 40 degrees out.
It's not too bad.
No.
Okay. Yeah, I'm a good 80s right now. Mid
Yeah.
70s. I can't. I'm from New York originally. I'm from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
I was here 3 years ago. Moved to Miami 3 years ago. I love it.
Yeah.
It's great. Nice and warm.
Yeah. I was just in Miami a couple weeks ago. I was in Boca, but we ended up going to Miami for the day. It was great.
Yeah, it's definitely nice. Not for everybody. It's a slower pace kind of thing. Although it's getting very crowded now. So things are changing. They're building so much infrastructure. People are flocking here. So I think it's becoming, you're having a lot of those tri-staters, New Yorkers, Jersey, Pennsylvania, California, many people from other states. So I think it's starting to kind of get more of an urban feel to it than it used to be.
Yeah.
So aside from the podcasting, you do the coaching.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the influencing 1 billion people. And that's something that I first heard from Dave. And maybe that's something you kind of adopted from him, or is that your own kind of philosophical thought? Because I've never heard someone else say that.
I don't know if I got that from Dave. I've always kind of had that. I can't even remember if I did or if I didn't. But it's always been kind of an element of mine forever. So, to be able to influence as many people as I possibly can. And, the internet, I started an internet company when I was 23 and sold it when I was 25. So I've always been into the, I was in the tech world very early, understanding how things can just, how the internet can accelerate growth in a major way and exposure in a very, very positive way. So, it's always been something that I've been very passionate about, being able to not just help the people that are my clients, but to be able to help people that, I may never personally meet or be able to connect, or maybe who, can't afford the investment of working with somebody like me. That's why I provide everything that's free on my website, and I update content every day. I have a coaching group, it's for people who maybe are looking for more of an economical approach to coaching versus my one-on-one or my keynotes or my training. So I don't know. I just want to kind of, I love what I do. I'm fulfilled as can be because I'm in my passion. And
were you trying to say fulfilled? So you were trying to drop the F-bomb because you can on my podcast. I don't know if you're that kind of guy.
No, I wasn't at all. Yeah. I mean, if I felt like I needed to, I would, but no, I wasn't.
Oh, okay. It totally had me thinking that for a second.
Yeah. No.
But I wasn't sure because you don't necessarily look like that kind of guy, but no one really looks like that kind of person. That's like a funny thing to say.
Yeah.
You are free to do that on my podcast.
Yeah.
So
all right. Good. Well, I appreciate the pass.
Feel like it.
I appreciate the pass.
You got it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So in terms of the getting unstuck, wanted to get into that a little bit more.
Sure.
For just to kind of give an example, I am a realtor for about 1.5 years now.
What are you, commercial
residential.
Or residential?
Residential. I would delve into commercial, but I'm focusing on residential.
I was in commercial for 13 years. So I understand the space. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Awesome. So yeah, I'm doing residential. I'll definitely delve into commercial, and eventually if I shift into it, so be it. But as of now, I seem to enjoy residential more. So for me, I have a coach. I have a fantastic coach. He is an incredible agent, incredible coach, and he talks about plateauing, and he coaches people one-on-one. He also does group coaching, and the biggest factor is leverage. The biggest factor is hiring the right people to take the, okay, pardon, that was my cat. Anyway, the time in business versus the time on the business. You know, and he makes it very clear that if you're spending time doing paperwork, if you're spending time taking phone calls, you're not going to be able to maximize the time you spend when you're awake, right? So, I mean, I'm sure you coach business owners of all different kinds of businesses from all walks of life. What do you tend to find are some of the common things that people are doing or not doing that stop them from that make them stuck, so you can unstick them or unstuck them?
Well, one is people thinking that, to me, living and working on the plateau is a great thing. Because the roller coaster, typically in real estate, those that experience a roller coaster career, that's when you have more highs and lows. I was a resident. I was a multifamily agent for 6 years. And then I was the top conventional guy in my office, ended up taking over my office August 4th of 08. The market crashed in September of 08. And then I grew my office, my commercial office, to be one of the most profitable in the entire company. Grew it to 45 agents, 60 people plus. So I get that space. And then I ended up going in-house for a year and restructuring a 50-year-old real estate company with a buddy of mine. And had a blast doing that, and then started my coaching business about 7 years ago. But one of the things I find, and when I was in commercial real estate, I was a national and regional sales trainer, as well as running my office. But one of the things I found is those that got stuck in the chaos and the roller coasterness of the ups and the downs, those are the ones that would rise and fall very quickly. And the ones that fell had a really hard time getting back to their base to really grow. And so living on the plateau is really where you want to be, which is the consistency of all of the measurable metrics and activities that you need to do that become a little bit monotonous, sometimes boring to people, but the necessary calls, meetings, proposals, etc. And so it's about to me, it's about the consistency of all of that. And then being able to invest in yourself so you can delegate to people to do the things that you shouldn't be doing. You should know your hourly rate and not do things under a certain hourly rate that are just not worth your time, because you only have time to do what you should really spend most of your time on what you do to get paid and what makes you money. And so a lot of times people get lost in admin work. And so if you're not delegating and doing the consistent work to be on the plateau, and you're having this roller coaster world, well, then you're gonna peter out. You're gonna peter out, and you're not gonna be able to grow your business the way that you want. Because when you're in a roller coaster, it's harder to work on your business because you're always in it. Because the minute you're high, you're in it managing accounts, and when you're low, you're so depressed you can't pick up the phone to make a phone call or go network. But when you live on the plateau, you strategically know how to use your time effectively. You are committed to the fundamentals of mastery of your metrics, and you're leading specific measurable activities. Then you begin to grow, and part of your routine is working on your business. So it's not like, well, 10%, 90% of this. Part of your daily routine is working on your business.
It's so amazing how no matter the industry, it's all applicable.
It's all applicable.
It's all applicable.
What I just said applies. Right. I mean, I coach every industry you could possibly imagine, and that formula works no matter what, whether it's
you're kind of a big deal. So you're saying you're kind of a big deal.
I'm not saying I'm a big deal at all. But what I'm saying is it's applicable because it's just a formula.
Right.
Yeah.
It totally is. I I read Gary Keller from Keller Williams, his book, The One Thing.
The One. Yeah, I read it.
Right, The One. Right. Sorry, The One.
Yeah, it
Thank you for
reminded me a lot
correcting.
of the book by Greg, I think it's McEwen, Essentialism. I don't know if you read that book, another great book.
No, I haven't. Is it?
Okay.
Wait, is it The One or is it The One Thing? You tricking me.
No.
Hold on. I was right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, this book. Whoever wants a fantastic book on focusing on the one thing that matters in your business, read this guy. Small book. It is 235 pages. You can read this in a day easily, maybe 2-3 days. Fantastic book. And I mean, in real estate, lead generation is the numero uno. It's the cream of the meat and potatoes. It's the most important thing. And so many realtors I notice, even though I'm newer, so many realtors have been in business for years, 10 years, and they have their number on their list on their listing. Why are you taking 50 real estate agent calls for your listing? You should have somebody else handling the calls. You should have another number on your listing that isn't yours. So many things, even on my real estate signs. I mean, right now I don't have an admin. I have a transaction coordinator, which is already huge, which is already such a big help. But eventually, I mean, I don't want to have my number on any of these things. I want to have an assistant who handles the calls. Obviously, the calls that are important, I'll handle, but that's huge. I can't wait to do that. But again, I'm newer, so it's going to take a little bit of time.
Yeah. You gotta go at your own cadence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what are some other things you suggest in terms of, say you were a commercial broker. So what are things you suggest, whether you're commercial or residential, to really be able to spend more time on the business and less time in the business?
Well, I was a commercial broker.
Right.
I actually still have my broker license. And, the key things are the following: wake up, have a morning routine, prospect every single day, go see 100 people every 100 days, become a master of your calendar and learn how to use it. My dad signed me up when I was 18 years old for a time management course. I'm going to be 50 this year. Learning time management was one of the key things for me to be successful in business. I loved it. Still love it. Studied it every day since. Still do a lot of keynotes on time management, which are amazing and really beneficial. But it's getting into a routine of prospecting every single day. If you're in sales, which is, I know this is kind of a sales type of thing. If you're in sales, you need to prospect every day, period, the end. And you got to prioritize prospecting because it's one of the most important things you're going to do for your current and future pipeline. And so one of the things that a lot of salespeople do is they just stop prospecting, right? They get a big deal, they stop prospecting. They get a big deal, you got to prospect.
Oh, I love that you brought this up.
Right.
I love that you brought this up. My coach gets so peeved about this. He says, as soon as somebody has a couple of listings or they have a couple of closings, he has a phrase for it. I forget what it is, but they get stuck in those transactions and they completely stop generating new clients. Correct. And then some of those fall through, maybe they all close, but regardless, now they have nothing. Instead of continuing to let the wheel spin, continuing to generate. And so that's what I've realized.
So to me, everything else that I could name a ton of things, but that is the most important element of it all. That's the most important piece of it all. Mm-hmm. You got to prospect every day. You got to market yourself every week, and you got to be a better communicator and masterful at follow up. A drop of blood can ruin a gallon of water.
Yeah, follow up is key.
If you have really poor follow up, that's it. I mean, that's not it, but those are the master fundamentals that I see people have really big roadblocks. Role play every day for 5 to 15 minutes.
I role play every morning from 7:30 to 8 o'clock. I have a role play partner. My coach set up a role play group. Yeah. I'm going to be joining the listing presentation role play group as well. There's another group for that. And I mean, it's totally a game changer. I'm very comfortable over on the phones. I just, obviously there's always improvement, but I'm very comfortable over the phones. I could get told to go screw myself 30 times and I'll gladly pick up the phone the 31st time. I really couldn't care less. It makes no difference to me. And I make anywhere from, it depends how much time I have, like certain things come up, but I time block from 8 to 12.
Good.
And then I have my lunch and then I keep calling. If I have appointments, I go on appointments. If I don't, I just keep calling throughout the day. It's pretty much what I do. So yeah, I mean, it's where I've gotten most of my business, cold calls. I didn't grow up here, so I don't have, familial connections and all these things. So my sphere of influence isn't that big. I mean, I know a lot of people here already, but a lot of them are my age. They don't necessarily have the money to purchase property. They don't already own property. A lot of them are renting.
Right.
So a lot of it is just, through networking and meeting older people. But a lot of it's been from picking up the phones. And I've noticed that very few realtors, very minuscule percentage of realtors consistently make phone calls. Very, very few.
Yeah, I agree. It needs they need to evolve. It's very few people.
Well, I think because they think that with technology, there's an easier way. And it's the kind of thing where in life, there are certain shortcuts that work. And sometimes you just got to be willing to crawl through the dirt.
Yeah. You gotta remember the low tech phone and just meetings. Those are key.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
People just think that if they have a big enough Instagram, they'll get all the referrals they need and they don't have to.
Well, it's great. It builds credibility, but you still got to prove yourself.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah.
That's the market. That's what we're in. But I've come to realize, just like again with Gary Keller, he says business is simple. It's not easy. Like the implementations, things you have to kind of focus on aren't necessarily that difficult. It's the repetitious boredom, because you were talking about doing those kind of mundane things day in and day out. That's, I think, what a lot of people have a difficulty with. They want there to always be this new excitement every day. And in a business, in sales, especially in real estate, there are very exciting moments. If you stick it out long enough and you make the right decisions. I mean, Tuesday, you might have nothing, or you might have no business for 2 months. And then 2 months and a day, you end up with a $10 million listing because you met the right person at the right time and made the right impression. So everything is so up in the air, but you still have to make those certain calculated decisions, such as time blocking, having a schedule, having a healthy morning routine, having a healthy nightly routine, all those things.
Yeah.
So, so that's why I like it. I like that there's the structure, but there's also the kind of randomness of sales, where there's no cap and all those things.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
That's what excites me. Yes. So what are some other things? What are some other common discussions that you have with people in terms of getting unstuck?
Getting their mindset in the right space, right? Remembering who they are today versus who they were yesterday or a year ago. I think a lot of times, a lot of people that I work with suffer from imposter syndrome on some level at some point of their career. And they set goals based on who they were last year or the year before versus who they are in present day, right? With the track record that they've accomplished and the amount of things that they've done. And sometimes they just need to be reminded of, what they've done and take stock in that and appreciate that and understand that it has done a lot to grow their skill set and things. And so that's a really, really important piece, that my mindset is, 80-90% of it in many cases. Mm-hmm. And I think sometimes people beat themselves up and forget how great they really are. And when they can tap into that and are a constant learner of things, and they're always growing their skill set and their crafts, and always looking at how they can get better and how they can save the minutes and be more effective and be more efficient, ask better questions, all of that. It just, they start to evolve their business. When I'm coaching with people, all my coaching is very custom. I have a very high EQ, so I can see and hear what others miss. You were saying, it's simple, it's not easy. But I always say is business is simple, so simple it's complicated, and business is actually really simple, but people make it complicated, right? Because managing people is actually a lot harder than the art of business itself. And so interacting with people and communication, which is what I work with a lot of people on, and understanding their business plan and building a business plan and vision and things of that nature, those are all really key components to the growth of a business. But a lot of times, like my coaching, I ask a lot of questions in my coaching, and my clients, again, whether it's solopreneur or fortune company, if they work in either, whatever of those or somewhere in between, I create a space where I can ask questions where they can access things that they cannot access without my questions. They can't get to the depth of where they are. And then they get to a point where they come up with things that are just simple. And then I believe you can break everything down to the simple. And then once you get to the simple, reverse engineer the plan of action. And then my clients work with me every week for 15 minutes or 15 to 30 minutes, every week or every other week. And because the shelf life is very short before they go back to their old ways. Mm-hmm. And so somebody who's willing to invest, a little each week goes a long way. So that's kind of a gist of what I find. I mean, most people aren't even close to hitting their highest potential. And yet sometimes they think they are.
How long do you think people need to, I guess everyone's different, but how long do you think people need in terms of coaching and rewiring the brain for them to not go back to their old habits? It's hard to say.
I'm 50 years old. I've had a business coach since I was 23. So I've had business coaches for the last 27 years because, here's a question for anybody who's listening. How consistent are you on a diet? Right? Before you, feel like you're eating healthy 2 days, 3 days, how many days before you fall back? Business is the same way.
Well, I think diet in and of itself is just a wrong way to go about it. I don't like the term diet to begin with. I like calling it a lifestyle.
I'm just using it as an analogy.
Yeah, I know what you. Right? Yeah, I know you.
But what I'm saying is it's easy, no matter how healthy you are, to eat the Doritos and the ice cream. Mm-hmm. That you can justify on a Friday night or a Saturday, right? Mm-hmm. And so business is the same way. You just need somebody to be there so you can get back on track faster, mm-hmm. right? It's not that we all don't fall. I fall all the time, but to have the people around you to get back on track faster, right? So I can do that and kind of get back to center and get back into alignment and go. That to me is the key. So for me, 80% of the people that work with me typically don't stop because they know they want to constantly be in growth mode. They want to constantly grow. And the commitment is 15 minutes a week or 30 minutes every other week for great growth. And I guarantee everything I do. I do no contracts and I return every call, text, email, same day. So my clients always have me in between every session of working with me, no matter what. I call it's like for that, like, they always have like those 2 to 5 minute questions. And that's one of my non-negotiables. I return every call, text, email, same day. So if there's, whether it's an email or how, where they're stuck, they'll send me a text, I'll send them a text, email, whatever it is. But that is, to me, the consistency of having that person in your corner. Most people don't have anybody that they can talk to that have their back, that will fully support them, that are there for them. It's very rare that people have somebody for themselves, right? You have your shrink maybe, right? But how many people are there only for you and your well-being? I'm there for my clients. So it's great.
Well, some people might say their spouse, but I don't know.
No. I'm not saying about that. But listen, my wife is is my best business coach. She gives me the great advice, but she also doesn't love business. So she's not, the intricacies that I can talk to my business coach about. She doesn't enjoy talking about that element of the business.
So it's more of the emotional support side. than it is the actual business talk, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. But my wife, I'll always run ideas by her. And if she said, great idea, it's a great idea. If it's not, it's not. But
It's that simple?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
If I run an idea by my wife and she says, I love it, it's a go. If she says, I don't get it or I don't like it, it goes back to the drawing board.
Okay. But you won't totally write it off if she doesn't like the idea, would you?
Depends. I mean, I'll change course a little bit because her instincts are usually right.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So again, we all need that support, right? We all need the support. And so to me, it's, again, the answer to the question, it's as long as somebody feels like they're at their highest potential or if they want to keep on going further. That I think is the answer. But typically,
the mindset is everything. Well, typically what?
I was gonna say, typically, if I'm working with someone and they stop working with me, they will, in many cases, come back at some point later. And if they don't, they just kind of, a lot of times they just kind of stay where they are and they're happy with where they are.
Well, that's also another question. I think it's an excuse for most people, but then you have people that say, well, what's the point of continuing to build a business? Why don't I just decide that having, say in real estate, I don't know, a GCI of 400,000, that's enough. I make $400,000 a year. I don't need to make any more. Fine. And I guess for those people that's fine. But then you have people that are always trying to make more. That's what gets a little complex, I think.
I don't know if it's making more or making the same, but working less, or making it easier, or understanding the systems or the succession planning, or the, where they want to be. Listen, I'm not in the business of motivating anybody to work with me or do something that they're not. That's not my job. My job is to work with people to get them in the place where they are fulfilled, in alignment, in alignment with the line of their highest potential, and to be effective and as efficient as possible, and to provide them ideas, work with them on their vision, reverse engineer what they need to do, and raise their self-awareness, their frequency and vibration along the way. So they're always raising their level of consciousness, because the same level of consciousness that got them to where they are can't get them to where they want to be. But if they're where they want to be and they're content and they're happy and they don't want to grow, they're just not my client, right? They're not my client. That doesn't mean that it's good or bad. It's just not my client.
Sure.
Right? I work with people who are looking to grow in small increments, which means that compounds over time in a really big way. That's who I work with. Small little things, right? On a consistent basis that make a big impact. And if you're at a point where you don't want that, that's great. That's not my client.
I understand. No, I like that you let things happen the way they're supposed to.
Correct. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, John, is there anything else that you wanted to touch up on that we might not have touched up on?
No, I'm just following your lead. Yeah. I mean, You got the questions. I'm just here to, lend my 2 cents.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it. We already did a nice amount. We can always do another episode. I just have to, there are some other work related things I got to do.
Yeah.
So, I'm sure you have your own things to do. So without further ado, kind sir, I do appreciate you coming on.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
My absolute pleasure. And let's keep in touch. We have each other's numbers. We have each other on Instagram. So
absolutely.
You know where to find me. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I've never been to Detroit. I have not. Never been to Detroit. So if I do come, I'll let you know.
Yeah.
And if you're in South Florida, please give me a ring. Let me know you're by. Guys, gentlemen, ladies and gents, boys and girls, make sure to subscribe, like, share, leave a comment. Make sure to follow John Dwoskin on Instagram. Okay, let's see. I'm going to make sure to, again, attach all of your social media. My editor is going to put everything in.
Right.
So you will have, hopefully some people will check out the page,
right,
podcast, and the book that is free, FREE, free. And that is all, folks. Thanks for coming on, brother. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Rafi. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Bye.